So many people have heard Trump mention in speeches central casting, right? Central casting. He would be, he would be great if I was casting something. That that person, general, whatever, or admiral. That's who I would put, to be that person. And so there's been all this, this there, because Trump is great and you really have to pay attention. I don't know how he does it. It's genius. The way he delivers a speech and he'll throw something in there and it goes over everybody's head. Nobody even pays attention to it, especially the wicked. But, for a while, before people started talking about central casting, like, he would just throw it in. Like, just, he'd be talking about something and central casting, like, he'd just throw it in. Nobody picks up on it, like, because we pay such little attention to what people say, right? We do. We don't pay a whole lot of attention. So when you pay a lot of attention, then you really, wait, like, how did he do that so masterfully without people like, what? What was it? Even the media doesn't pick up on it, but he does. So then when people started talking about it, he would go a little further, and if I was going to be casting for something, he'd be the perfect person I would put in that spot. And so then like the conspiracies have run wild that the whole deep state is gone and they're all actors. The whole government is actors, right? Yeah, that's still I don't fall into that. I think that one's a little too high of a jump for me, especially because I go through to me it's looking at it through the biblical lens. So no, that doesn't make sense. No, what more makes sense is that I think that Trump has he's saying something deeper. And of course the wicked, the media, all of them, they just will carry on like that. You see what fools they are. They're just stupid people, okay? But they're stupid because they do the bidding for idiots, okay? But that said, what would central casting, what could it really mean? What could it biblically mean? Let's say that. Well, that the whole world's a stage, right? But it literally is it's a stage. We're all actors in it. Even if we don't know it, we just call it our life. Because actually, it says in the Bible that we're living under a tent. It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them like a tent to dwell in. So that you hear the term that and I said it when I was talking about the Dream On song, and how I was talking about how all the music industry went on tour in 2021, and it seemed like many of them at the ends of their tours were very somber and sad. It was like the final curtain was coming down. And people have heard that term, right? The final curtain coming down. So we think of it as the final curtain comes down, it's the end of the show, and it is the end of the show. But if the curtain comes down, the tent curtain. So not only the curtain of the different circus shows we all live in under this tent, as God watches, as God watches all the circus shows that go on here on earth. And all the people that try to claim they're about doing good when really they follow a wicked path. Even if it's on a small level, like leadership that deliberately do things just for a paycheck, that's a wicked path, whether you like it or not. You know better. But that went on in the road, and I'm bringing that up for a certain reason, because Pilate, when he decided to put Jesus to death, he gave the people a choice, right? He said, do you want me to let the criminal Barabbas go, or do you want me to let the innocent man Jesus go? And what did the crowd in this tent, what did they yell for? What did they scream for? They screamed for the criminal to be released. They screamed for the murderer to be released, not the innocent man. That's why Jesus said, if this was my kingdom, my people would be fighting for me. They would be fighting for righteousness. Where do you see that? Do you see that anywhere on earth right now? I mean, I don't. I don't even see it at small levels of leadership. I see more disgraceful leadership. Yeah, so that's all just, you keep wanting to walk a path of wickedness and lay your head down at night and tell yourself it doesn't matter. So my role here is to tell you it does matter. It absolutely does matter. And you can disregard that and blow it off. But you know what? You need to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture here is that we've all been living under a curtain. We've all been living under a veil. But see, Jesus broke. He put a rip in that veil purposely. And after Jesus yelled out his last holler when his body died on the cross, this happened, and behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook and the rocks split. The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. When the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Jesus, saw the earthquake and what took place, they were filled with awe and said, "Truly, this was the Son of God." And he will swallow up on this mountain the covering that is cast over all the peoples, the veil that is spread over all the nations. So what is Trump talking about? Is he really just talking about how all of them are already gone? They took care of him in his first term, and they're at Gitmo and whatever. Is that really, or is he saying? Is he possibly trying to tell you something more? And again, the idiot people, the women on The View, the mainstream media, you know who they are. They're going to continue because they follow a hateful path. They're the people why the world has gone corrupt. They're the helpers of wickedness. So they'll just say, I'm crazy, but I really don't care at this point. Look at the world. If you're crazy enough to think that God doesn't play a role in this, and when the whole world becomes this destructive and wicked, with the most wealthiest people, like at the Chicago Economic Forum where Trump spoke, or where he took questions, which I was glad to. I liked watching what he had to say, because after Northwestern wrongfully tried to get me to take responsibility for something I was not going to take responsibility for. I resigned, and at the head of Northwestern, then the CEOs, part of the reason they're just always no good. He was on board at the Chicago Economic not World Economic Forum, but the Economic Club of Chicago. That's what I should say. So that just told me everything I needed to know. He was the CEO of Northwestern. They moved him. He's now the CEO over some other hospital. They're just garbage, all of them. His name was Dean Harrison. If you want to look him up, you can't find a whole lot about him. But they're all part of the problem, and then they get their little minion leaderships to go along with stuff they shouldn't, and they think it's okay to, let's not do the right thing as a chief nursing officer. I don't have to. At the end of the day, we're going to let everybody else be stressed out and create hostile work environments, and I'm going to tell myself I'm just doing what I'm told, and it's okay. Again, I'm here to tell you it's not okay. So you just help keep everything corrupt, even at the small levels like that. So eventually, God decides, the veil's going to come down, and it has come down for some people, right? Some people that can see the world differently. I come across the videos all the time for the past couple of years. People saying it's hard once you see the truth, because then you have to dumb yourself down to have conversations with others, because they're still under the veil. They don't see it. Whether they don't want to or whatever. They don't. You have some people that think they see it, but then they think that the religions are okay. No, everything has been corrupted. It all has been. And God, as it says in the Bible, sits over the circle of the earth. We're just like, little grasshoppers. And he sees who is willing to try for righteousness, who is willing to try to be biblically sound and have good reason and judgment. Because all of the leadership, just like the Roman Empire, didn't have good judgment. And when Pilate thought he was washing his hands, the hell he was. No, he wasn't. He was a poor leader, and what's resulted from that has been nothing but. At times you'll get a good leader, but they don't usually hang around, do they? Most will just go along with the corrupt people at the top. So God gets tired of that, and when the whole place gets too diseased and too corrupted, well, the curtain starts falling, and the first place it falls is on all the actors in under this tent that have been deceiving others. And then it eventually comes to God taking down the whole tent altogether.